I'll sit down in just a second, but I want to say this. The same question I ask every time I get an opportunity to speak with you as airport managers. How many of you know who your state representative and state senator are? If you know, raise your hand. How many of you invited your representative or senator, or even the representative and senator in the next district, to come up and tour your airfield to see what you do? Oh, that's very good. It could be better. So that is the challenge I ask all the time. We, as legislators, love to meet new people. We especially love to meet new people who are driving our economy, who are doing good things for our transportation, who are helping businesses and individuals do well in the Commonwealth. And that's why our airports and all of you are so important. So reach out. Take some time this summer. When it's a little slower here in the building, you're more likely to get your legislator in their district. Invite them to come up. Bring a plane out and put it on the apron so you can stand there and have a picture. Bring a pilot out and talk a little bit about what they do. They do the angel flights. They provide their time and money to do. Maybe have a piece of pie. There's an airfield in the Commonwealth with a restaurant where they make pies. I don't know about your ears. Do you know any place that they do that? And lastly, maybe take a flight. That would be really cool. I know the folks have done that in my own district at Westwood Barnes and Westover. Do that and you'll have a friend in the legislature for life, and that's a good thing. We need you, you need us. It's a great combination. Enjoy this day, and thank you again for your time. Take care.
I'll tell you, without Senator Hummerson's leadership and guidance, we wouldn't be having this event. And we appreciate him, his staff, everything they've done for us over the years. Really just trying to help us understand the role and our position. What Don says makes great sense. We need to continue to reach out. Well, the legislators are going in 15 different directions every day. Make sure they understand the value of what is important to us, what our business brings to the state, the economy, transportation network. So let's make sure we get out there and get our legislators down to our airports. Well, we've turned a new page here, and I am very, very pleased to formally introduce to our group our new Secretary of Transportation, Stephanie Pollack. Stephanie was appointed by Governor Patrick as Secretary and Chief Executive Officer on January 13, 2015. Secretary Pollack leads the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, whose mission is to find better ways to meet the state's transportation needs, serve customers, spur the economy's and Commonwealth's economy, and reduce the state's carbon footprint. Stephanie Pollack has worked. You're laughing at me. He's laughing at me. I know I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure I'll hear about it, believe me. She has worked on transportation policy, finance, and equity as an assistant to the Associate Director for Research at Katie and Michael Dukakis Center for Urban and Regional Policy at Northeastern University since 2005, where she has also served as an adjunct professor, sharing her skills and experience with the next generation of public policy leaders. Stephanie has also provided over a decade of strategic consulting on transportation issues to the public and private sectors, including the Boston Transportation Department, Massachusetts Port Authority, following a distinguished career at the Conservation Law Foundation in Boston. She has been active in public policy issues affecting transportation, development, and sustainability nationally and locally, serving on numerous boards and advisory bodies, including MassDOT's Transportation Advisory Committee, and chairing the Transportation Advisory Committee in her hometown of Newton. Secretary Pollack received a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and a Bachelor of Science in Public Policy from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and a doctorate from Harvard Law in 1982 and 85, respectively. We would like to formally welcome our new CEO and Secretary of Transportation, Stephanie Pollack, to NAM.
So I'm delighted to be with you today and to help you showcase for the benefit of members of the Massachusetts Legislature the important role that airports play in our transportation system in Massachusetts, and perhaps as importantly in our economic system in Massachusetts. I'm delighted to be here with Chris Willenborg. I'm delighted to be here with our partners at the Federal Aviation Administration and with all of you who do the day-to-day work of managing our airports in Massachusetts. One of the things that has sort of become my mantra as Transportation Secretary is this idea that transportation is not only important for what it is, in the case of airports, for the planes and for the taxiways and for the hangars and the terminals, but it's important for what it does. And one of the things that I know Chris has been working really hard on and is going to be talking about is really trying to help people understand what aeronautics does for Massachusetts, the role it plays in our economy, the role it plays in our transportation system, the role it plays in our tourism industry, and how it helps our cities and towns grow and thrive, which is one of the highest priorities of the Baker-Polito administration. Another thing that I talk a lot about when I talk about my vision for the Massachusetts Department of Transportation is our need to get better and better every day at what I call the 4 Ps. And those are planning ahead, prioritizing, forging partnerships, and ensuring our performance. And I really think that the Aeronautics Division at MassDOT, under Chris's leadership, is a model, maybe the smallest part of the gigantic behemoth that is the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. But his staff of about a dozen does an incredible job, and I think in some ways models what I mean by that, because the division works closely with all of you to plan ahead, to understand what your needs are. In terms of prioritization, you are no different than any other part of the transportation system in Massachusetts. There are more capital investments that we need to be making in your airports than we can possibly afford. And the answer is not to throw up our hands in despair and give up. Our answer is to have good ways of prioritizing those projects and good ways of creating partnerships so that we can leverage federal money, so that we can leverage when it's possible private dollars, so that we can get more projects done using leverage. And that's another, I think, hallmark of what you all and Chris and the Aeronautics Division have been accomplishing. And finally, performance. I think that not just the economic study, but other aspects of how you all operate, your ability to document the number of jobs that you're producing, the other economic benefits, direct and indirect, you're producing, makes a big difference to your ability and my ability to make a case that our airports are a critical part of our transportation system, and that investing in those airports is an important way in which we can advance economic development in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Like the Senator, I would encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to get to know your reps, your senators, for those of you in cities, your city councilors, your select people. You are a small but important part of our transportation system, and that means that you need as many voices as possible and as many policymakers as possible to understand what you are, who you are, what you do. And so you need to enlist as many folks as possible. I'm going to try to get out to some of the airports around the state over the next few months. Now that the snow has stopped, I can't, just work on the T full time. And so I'm looking forward to getting to see some of you. The Senator's going to tell me where the pie is, I hope. So I'll prioritize that one. And mostly what I want to say to you this afternoon is, I'm here, Chris is here, our Aeronautics Division at MassDOT is here to be a partner with you. And if there are things that we have been doing well in that partnership, I'd love to hear about them, because I spend a lot of my time hearing about the things we don't do so well. But I do actually want to hear, are there things we could be doing better? Are there things we could be doing differently? Are there ideas that you've been thinking about for a while, but there never seemed to be a good time to raise those ideas? And a new administration and a new moment in time when we're actually having conversations about things like how we do our planning and how we set our capital priorities and how we measure and produce performance across MassDOT is a great time to be talking about those issues with respect to our airports. So I welcome your thoughts, your ideas, and your feedback on how we're doing and how we can do better. And I thank you for all the hard work you do every day, and for coming here today to help educate our legislators about the important role that our airports play in the transportation system and economy of the Commonwealth. Thank you for inviting me.
thank you very much for coming today and getting to meet some of us. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we can show you around and get you out and see some of our wonderful airports. Thank you. Aviation has always been about partnerships, as we've known. Over these years, we try to partner up with wonderful people that want to involve themselves in aviation. One of our best partners and people that we have worked with in organizations for a long time has been the FAA. MassDOT, we'll talk about Chris and the MassDOT team when we get to Chris, but FAA is a region made up of our 6 states. We have worked tirelessly with the FAA to make sure that we've got a great statewide transportation system. They have always tried to help us as we've tried to improve what we have here, make it better, make it safer, educate the public. They've got a tremendous task that they're always pulling off, and they've got one of the best staffs in the country, we feel. When we have events like this, it's always wonderful that they're able to come out and be a part. And very, very happy to have Todd Friedenberg, the Regional Executive Manager with the FAA, here with us. Todd is going to give us an update and tell us a little bit about the FAA and the role and what's happening. A little bio about Todd. Todd D. Friedenberg serves as the Regional Executive Manager for the Federal Aviation Administration's New England region. I gotta sit this up a little bit better so I can read easier. The 6-state, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, 10 tribal nation region, covers 160,000 square miles of airspace, maintains 68 facilities, and employs approximately 2,000 employees. As the Regional Executive Manager, Todd provides FAA leadership in cross-organizational matters. He also represents the FAA within the industry, the public, Native American tribes, and other governmental entities. Todd joined the FAA in 1982 as an air traffic controller, after having served the same capacity for the United States Army. Todd has held positions of increased responsibilities over his career. Todd previously served as a manager in other FAA New England-based facilities as well: Cape Tracon, Boston Tracon, Martha's Vineyard Airport Air Traffic Control Tower, and Bangor Airport Traffic Control Tower. Todd is a graduate of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Professional Aeronautics. I'd like to welcome Todd Friedenberg.
Thank you very much, Dave. I didn't realize I did all that. It's really a pleasure to be here today with everybody. Oh my God. Maybe if I stand up, you'd think with 30 years as a controller, I know how to work a mic. Is this better? Loud and clear. Loud and clear. It's nice to be here with Senator Humison and the Secretary here and with everybody else that's here. You heard a little bit about my background. We're talking about economic impact today and aviation education for our youngsters. I started my aviation career, I like to say, when I was 9 and 10 years old, and I used to go out to the Marlboro Airport. I think Marlboro is represented here somewhere. And I'd ride my bike there. I grew up in Framingham, and I know a lot of you have heard the story. I'd ride and I'd just watch the airplanes take off and land. I found out later on in life people would pay me to watch airplanes take off and land, and I could go up in the tower and actually get paid to watch airplanes. So that was really wonderful. And lately I've started to, a new dream of mine, which is to become a private pilot. I've started taking my pilot lessons. And I've flown into some of your airports around the southeastern part of the state. I do it well under the radar because I don't want anybody to know if I do anything I shouldn't be doing. But it's really been a blast. So I enjoy that, and I enjoy all your services. But as we know, aviation is not just about having fun. It's really an important economic driver within the state, which we heard the Secretary talk about. And you know, it's a key to our transportation system and our economy. Now, this is a Statehouse we're at. It's beautiful. I never thought I would be standing here when I was 8 years old and going on a tour of the Statehouse. It's a beautiful place, and I never thought I would be standing here talking with people. So this is pretty exciting for me. But I'm from the federal government, so why am I here today? We have state airport managers, and we have state legislatures, and we're trying to promote aviation in our state legislatures. You know, the mission of the FAA is safety and efficiency, and we run the safest and most efficient airspace system in the world. And we are extremely proud at the FAA of what we do. And everyone who works there is proud of the work that we do to maintain this safe and efficient airspace system. So while safety is our mantra and safety and efficiency is our mission, aviation is really what our passion is. And so to talk a little bit about the economic impact, Chris's group did a great study, updated it recently. There's over 160,000 total jobs in the state of Massachusetts, over $6 billion in payroll, that's billion with a B, over $16 billion in total output. And the FAA wants to be a part of that. As I said, our mission is safety and efficiency, but we also want to promote aviation. And we do that both through our airport improvement program, the AIP funds that are granted federally through the FAA, and talk a little bit about STEM education as well. As you saw on the board over here, there are 39 airports that are eligible for AIP funds in the state. In the past 5 years, the FAA has awarded over $250 million in funds for projects at those airports. Now, our grant season starts at the beginning of May, so it's just getting underway. We've just started looking at the preliminary grants, and we already have almost $6 million in grants in the state of Massachusetts. There's a project in Provincetown for economic, not economic, for, what's the word I'm looking for? An environmental study, begins with an E. Environmental study, we have some, I guess because of the winter, some snow removal equipment at Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. We've got a project out at Westfield. There's a runway safety area project at Lawrence. So, we're just at the start of the season. Like I said, there'll be a lot more of those kinds of projects and that kind of money coming into the state from the FAA as we move forward this year. So we're really excited to be a part of that and working with all of you on your projects. And hopefully, if you've got a project in, you're hoping to get approval for, Mary Walsh will be approving it. She's our airports director, and she does a great job. So I'd like to move over a little bit to STEM, ABSET as we call it, STEM education, aviation and space education. We're at the forefront here in New England in the FAA. We really provide leadership for the whole FAA in STEM and ABSET. Amy Corbett, my boss, who's the regional administrator, and apologizes that she couldn't be here today, has been, for many years, was the senior executive responsible for STEM ABSET education in the FAA. The national program manager is based here in Burlington. And we've done some great things. We have some great events. One of my favorites just happened last month. We have the Boston Logan Aviation and Maritime STEM Expo. We had over 1,300 kids. I think they're all middle school age. Come through the door. We had 50 presenters. We had everybody from the Tuskegee Airmen to Terrafugia. We had FAA people, obviously, were there. It was a great event. The kids are just in awe. They come in, they see all the airplanes, they get to climb on them and talk about them, talk with people who are in aviation, and it's a great opportunity for them. We also do aviation career education academies, or ACE academies. We run in the summertime, and we help people who are aviation professionals in some colleges and some schools to run these, my boss hates when I use the word camp, because they're not really a camp, they're an academy, but the kids have a great time. We're running 3 in Massachusetts over this summer. We have one at one at Bridgewater, I think, and 2 at Middlesex Community College. So those will be a great opportunity for kids to participate. Another program we run is a fairly new one that we developed here in New England, and it's stretched across the country, is the Walk in My Boots program. And I'm glad to see Fran, glad to see you here. His organization, Gulfstream, does a great job with this. What this program is it's a start to finish opportunity for kids to learn about maintenance of airplanes and the kinds of jobs that are available at a facility like Gulfstream and throughout aviation. And they start by filling out an application to be part of this program, and they actually go through an interview process, which was just done last week. And next week, these kids are going to have an opportunity to go to the Gulfstream facility and spend a full day at this absolutely remarkable state-of-the-art facility just opened a couple of years ago, and see how wonderful the opportunity is for them in aviation. They can work on jets and airplanes, and it's just another one of those great programs. So I'd like to, while I don't want to step on Senator Humminson's request that you go out and talk with your representatives and senators, I definitely want you to do that, but I also want you to talk to the kids you see out there. When you're out in the airport and you see a kid walking up, go up and say hello, show them around the airport, show them an airplane, have them talk to a pilot. That's what will spark the interest in aviation, and that's what will really bring forward the future of our aviation workforce, which we need a lot of people to work. The numbers are dwindling in terms of people who have the skills we need, and the need is rising. There's a strong demand. So help those kids out, let them see how wonderful aviation is. I know I never regretted a day I've spent in aviation. I love it, and I really want to thank all of you for coming today, for showing an interest in this. Dave, thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you. You know, I've been stressing the whole teamwork thing. A couple things while we're getting the PowerPoint presentation ready to go. Something pretty interesting happened this past weekend out at Worcester Regional Airport. Something that has been on my brain for about 3 years was really trying to continue this outreach and bring people together. Thanks to the Massachusetts Air and Space Museum, we had our first ever general aviation forum. We had 15 to 20 people show up, and we had representatives from AOPA, Massport, Air and Space Museum, MAMA, a couple local pilot associations, including Fitchburg and the Worcester Pilots Association, and we had a really great time just talking about aviation and trying to really work on our commitment to reach out and try to learn how we can make things better for aviation. It was a wonderful event. I was thrilled about it. I'm really looking forward to next year's event. Bridgewater State College was there too. I want to make sure that we take this thing and start running with it and really make it grow. The other thing I want to do is I want to take a minute and just really thank our regional representatives who are here today from National. We've got Sean Collins from AOPA here, who is the Northeast Regional rep, and he is responsible for AOPA's outreach from Maine all the way down to, is it Maryland? Yeah, Virginia? He is a busy dude, and anytime we ask, I reach out to him, he is always right back to us. So we appreciate your efforts. And of course, our other friend with NBAA is Dean Saucier. And Dean has been really a breath of fresh air. Anytime I'm trying to understand anything, I can call Dean. He will get back to me and really help. He has really helped our organization tremendously over these last 10 years. And I really appreciate both gentlemen and what you're doing to try to help our organization grow. And our organization is only going to get stronger by having more events like this. But with all of our growth and all of our good things that are happening, there's also times for change. And one of the biggest changes that we're seeing is we are losing a good friend of all of ours, somebody that has worked tirelessly in aviation for the last 6.5 years as our MassDOT administrator. Chris Willenborg, when he called me and told me before he let everybody else know, I didn't sleep that well that night, because one thing I've always known with Chris, he exceeds expectations. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. He's constantly trying to find out the best ways to improve aviation for everybody. And that wouldn't happen without a great staff that he has at MassDOT. The good thing is, with Chris moving on, he's got a great team, he's got a great system in place. Hopefully we'll find a leader that will be able to continue on with his values and carry forth and continue to make aviation special in Massachusetts. And I'm going to just leave it there, but Chris really wants to talk a little bit about the economic impact update that has been completed. And it is a great study, and once again, it really validates what we are about, and that all this hard work that we're putting into it is working. With that said, I'd like to call up our MassDOT administrator, and I'm not reading a bio on him because everybody knows him, Chris Willenborg.
Sounds good. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Dave. Really appreciate those kind words. You know, on behalf of the mighty 12 of the Aeronautics Division, as the Secretary alluded to, or dozen, it's a pleasure to be here once again with Mama and all our industry stakeholders to tout the great work that our statewide system of airports do across the Commonwealth. This event, along with MassDOT's On the Hill Day event, really makes a difference in what we're trying to do and educate our legislators. Very, very important. And once again, it's a pleasure to be part of the group to do that. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, but I think in the interest of time, I won't go through the presentation, but I am going to talk about the key highlights of our statewide airport economic impact study update. As many of you recall, in 2011, we did a similar study. And we felt it was very important to do another update to show the significance of the strategic capital investment that we've made over the past 3 to 4 years is making a difference in our system. Thankfully, the study showed that there was a over 30% increase in the number of direct and indirect jobs that have been created in the Commonwealth as a result of that investment and you out there promoting your airports. And an over 40% increase in the economic output to the Commonwealth. Very, very important numbers. So this study, I hope all of you have received your packets. I want to see nods from those airport managers. All right, that's good. You need to be sharing these with your legislative leaders, both from a congressional, state, and local leaders. MassDOT has provided every state legislator with a copy here at the Statehouse, so they have received this. I've done numerous presentations for our DOT board meetings and other organizations around the state, but I need your help. We need your help to go out and promote the economic importance of our airports. So you heard earlier today about the jobs. So it's over 162,000 direct and indirect jobs. You've heard about the payroll impacts, over $6 billion, and yet total economic output of over $16 billion. Very, very important numbers. But what's also in this study, and it's something you need to share with your legislators, is that our industry is paying their fair share in regards to tax impacts. Our study looked at the revenues that are generated from our aviation activities and airports and what it brings back to the Commonwealth. And that's over $850 million as a result of those 162,000 direct and indirect jobs and economic output of $16 billion. That makes a difference here at the Statehouse, and we are putting back into the system and help us with that capital investment to keep this economic engine going. Also in this study, we did 2 case analyses. One you heard from several of our speakers today is aviation education outreach. And we have several organizations here today represented. We have David Price from Bridgewater State University, which is an accredited 4-year degree program promoting aviation. creating pilots for our workforce and business leaders in aviation. We have the Massachusetts Air